You want me to just jump in or?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Well, how's everybody doing today? Good. Okay. Let me know if you can't hear me or if I'm yelling too loud. So my name is Mark Nelson. I work at KPTV here in Beaverton. We're up by, well, everybody knows where the Krispy Kreme is by Highway 26, right? No, I don't know where it is. Well, my kids know where that Krispy Kreme is. Anyway, we're up by Highway 26 at Cornell Road, the exit there. And so let's see, let me share my screen, okay? Let me share my screen, make sure we can see it. It's right here, the PowerPoint, yep. Optimize for video, share sound, yes, 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 share. And can you see my PowerPoint presentation? Yes, that's good. How do I play it? Hang on, here we go. How about there? You can fill the screen now. You probably don't see me, but you see it says TV and weather forecasting. Is that what you see?
Yep.
Okay, good. So what I do, I'm what we call a meteorologist. And a meteorologist is somebody that forecasts weather or researches weather or studies climate. And weather and climate are kind of the same sort of thing. And so, but I have kind of an interesting job because I work at a TV station. So I was trained as a meteorologist, can't say it, but I was trained as a meteorologist in college. And so I forecast weather, but I also present the weather to our viewers on our TV station. We actually have 2 TV stations here. And we present the weather, we forecast the weather, and we also sometimes train people on how to, weather sort of things. So it's kind of a fun job. It's half TV and it's half weather forecasting, which is pretty neat. Okay, first thing I like to do is, since we don't really do tours anymore, even before COVID, we didn't really do tours. And so what we actually have like a packaged up tour of the TV station. It's a video. And I'm going to play this video. And at the very beginning, let me know if you're not hearing it. I forget how it works if the sound goes through. I'm going to start it one time and let's see if you hear the sound or not, okay? Or if it's way in the distance, just stop me if it's terrible, right? Teacher?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Shauna Parsons.
You hear
We're here
that,
at
or
the
do
home
you
of
want to
Fox
hear me?
12 Oregon and Fox 12 Plus.
I
can hear her. Yep, she's great.
Loud enough?
Of how we make a newscast. Come with me.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, now we're in the Fox 12 lobby, and look who's here, Andy Carson.
Yes.
Hi,
I'm
Andy.
hoping to meet Mark Nelson. Can I meet Mark Nelson? I want to meet Mark. He's my favorite.
Oh, Mark is the best. But you know what? You're not half bad either, Andy. Wait, Andy. If you want to visit us at Fox 12, first of all, you have to check in right here with Morgan.
Hello.
Or you have to have one of these.
You got one of those?
This is a security key. Look how it works.
Ah, there it is.
Now we can get inside.
I think I see Mark.
Well, now we're heading into the newsroom, and we produce a lot of newscasts every single day right here on Fox 12. We have Good Day Oregon, more Good Day Oregon. We have the noon show, 5 o'clock news, 6 o'clock news, 8 o'clock news, 9 o'clock news, 10 o'clock news, and 11 o'clock news.
The Mark Nelson Show. There, I found Mark.
There's your favorite. In the Fox 12 newsroom, you'll find a team of people working really hard every day to put on our newscast. You'll find reporters and anchors, producers, writers, and all the people who work on our assignment desk.
Air 12, we need you to go to Arby's. Mark wants a beef and cheddar. No pickles this time.
Hey guys, my name's Jeff, and we work at the assignment desk here in the newsroom. We're the ones that gather all of the incoming information and then decide where to send the crews to in the field. We're the ones that get the tips from the public from things like email and phone calls, but we also get some of our stories via the scanner, which you can hear here in the background. Sometimes if the story's huge and we need a bird's eye view, we'll send our helicopter Air 12 to the scene to get that video from the sky. So the folks here at the assignment desk are always in constant contact with the crews in the field, including the reporters and photographers, and we're the ones that give them the information that they need a lot of the times in order to file their reports.
Hi, I'm Haley and I'm a reporter at Fox 12, and now comes the fun part where we follow the story wherever it takes us. It could be the coast, the gorge, or even downtown Portland. After that, we interview people, then I write the story and pass it on to the photographer.
Hi, my name is Frank. I'm a photographer at Fox 12. When the reporter is done writing their story, we bring them into our laptops and edit them. Then when that's finished, we send them back to the station. When it's time for the reporter's live shot, there's a couple of different ways that we can do it. We can put the mast up on a live truck and send the signal that way, or we can use one of these little fancy backpacks that runs off of a cell phone signal and basically does the same thing.
Hi, I'm Haley, and I'm an executive producer here at Fox 12. A producer, when they come in, they each have their own newscast. So they come in and they pick out every story that's going to run that night. They come in and they write it, and then they streamline it in a way that makes sense to our viewers. They also then go through and pick out the video elements for each story and then add graphics before it goes on air. During the show, the producer's in the booth, and we're actually talking to the anchors and reporters in their ear when you see them on air. So if you ever see them kind of listening, that's us. Each show is allotted for a certain amount of time, for an hour or half an hour, so the producer is also responsible for making sure that show times out exactly.
Hi, I'm Julie Amato, one of the directors, and this is our control room. During a live newscast, I sit in here along with the producer, and everything that comes out of this board is what you see going over the air. The audio, the video, the camera shots. Technically, this is where everything happens that you see at home. At Fox 12, we have a team that covers the news 24 hours a day. We have a team of anchors who deliver that news to you every day, including not this guy, Wayne Garcia, who's going to show us what it's like behind the anchor desk.
He adds a little spice to your newscast every day.
Hey everybody, my name is Wayne Garcia. I'm an anchor here at Fox 12, and I'm about to show you where we do the newscasts from. That would be our studio. Now you notice it's kind of dark here. It's kind of like backstage. And we're gonna go to the stage now, which is also called our set. And this is the place where the anchors sit while they're reading the news. You can take a look, we've got a lot of lights here that make everybody bright and easy to see when you're looking at the television. And we've got, believe it or not, 8 different cameras that we can shoot. And that way it shows us in all kinds of different backgrounds and that kind of thing. But basically, most of the time, I will be sitting here in this chair right here. This is my desk. This is where I'm working when I do the newscast. And as you can see, we have a couple of different tools we use. One is a computer, so we can read the scripts on the computer. We have a mouse, and we have, that kind of thing, so that we can look at the news as it's happening, and social media as well, so we can keep in contact with our viewers. And I have a couple of little things that you might not notice, and one is a microphone. You see this right here? That's so people back home can hear what I'm saying. It's wireless. It's attached to a little transmitter that I have on my belt behind me, so that way I can walk all over the place. The other thing is this in my ear. It's like a Secret Service people use this when they protect important dignitaries. It's called an IFB, and that allows the producer who's in the booth next door to be able to talk to me and say, hey Wayne, this story is not working, we're gonna have to go past it, that kind of thing. And there's one more thing that's very, very important to news anchors these days. We don't have any paper scripts anymore. We're trying to be good to the environment, but we do rely on a teleprompter that is actually in the camera itself. And that's what it looks like when we're reading the news. You can see it says, thanks for joining us. I'm Wayne Garcia. And that is a little behind the scenes look at what we do as news anchors here on the set at Fox 12.
Hey kids, how you doing? I'm Mark Nelson here in the First Live Local Weather Center. This is where I spend a lot of my day. Now, you see I'm looking at the satellite picture of some clouds and like we're out in space, but in reality, I'm looking at this green wall. It looks kind of blank, doesn't it? So a lot of people wonder, so how does this thing work? How do we set this up? Well, it's not exactly magic, but it's kind of like that. Here's what we do. We have these weather graphics, and you can see them coming out of my computer right here, and that doesn't have me on it, right? Well, then what we do is we take me standing over this green wall. And the next question is, okay, why is it green? But we'll get to that in just a minute. But we want to put me over one color so that you can see me over nothing, right? The computer takes that out. Then we put what's left of me on top of those weather graphics, and there they are right there. Do you see them? And that's the finished product that you see at home here. So not exactly magic, but it's pretty cool how it works. Now, we mentioned the green, right? I mentioned the green. Does it have to be this color? No, we could choose any color, but remember, the computer, it's gonna take out that color. So let's try something. Stay with me, hang on. Right here, look what happens if I bring out this green cloth. Whoa, did you see that? Part of me is disappearing, and pretty soon all that's left is just a head bobbing around and maybe a little bit down below. So this is kind of fun to do like right around Halloween, but we can use this cloth to kind of make ourselves disappear. So your next question is, wait a minute, how do I know what to look at if I'm just staring at this blank wall? Well, remember, I can look over here at that big monitor. And then you might be wondering, if I stand here all day long, when do I get to actually put all my weather maps together? Well, actually, out of each newscast, let's say if a newscast is an hour long, I'm just here for like 2 or 3 minutes at a time. All the hard work is done over there in the Weather Center. Brian?
Hey there, my name's Brian McMillan. I'm one of the other meteorologists here at Fox 12, and this is the Fox 12 Weather Center where we spend most of our day. And as you can see, there are a lot of computers here that help us put together our weather forecast. One of the big things that we use is the radar. The radar shows us where it's raining, where it's snowing, maybe where we're getting some freezing rain. And it also shows us where we're seeing some lightning. You can see some moving its way through the Cascade foothills right now. Another tool we use for forecasting is our satellite view. It's like a picture from space where we can see how the clouds are moving through the atmosphere. We use these maps and weather models to make our forecast for the day and for the coming week. And if we want to make changes, like let's say on this day, we want to change it from partly sunny to rainy, we can do that with a click of a mouse.
My name is Paul Craig, and I am the Digital Content Manager at Fox 12 Oregon. Our digital team is posting minute-by-minute stories, breaking news, developing news, as well as feature stories with the help of our reporters out in the field, with our team of meteorologists, with our anchors. We're putting as much content as we can, as quickly as we can, while also focusing on journalistic integrity and quality of what we're putting out there as far as news stories go. Find it first off at kptv.com, then the Fox 12 Oregon app, and as well as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even Snapchat now.
Well, that wraps up your behind-the-scenes tour of Fox 12. As you can see, we've come a long way since we first went on the air back in 1952. Just look at this old camera. We hope the next time you turn on your TV, you'll turn the channel to Fox 12.
Oh, that crazy Andy. Okay, so let me keep the show going here. So that should give you an idea of what we do at a TV station. So one thing I didn't really mention, I touched on it. So we're actually two TV stations. And a lot of people think we're owned by, like, there's a big Fox network, or there's a big Fox company like Fox News. That's actually not us. We just use their entertainment programming. So we're owned by a company called Meredith. They make the Better Homes and Gardens cookbooks. So we're Fox 12 Oregon, and then Fox 12 Plus is our sister station that's on channel 13. Typically you watch channel 12, KPTV. All right, so here's your part, kids. Now, I've never done this virtual. I don't know how you hold up your hands. We're going to see how this works. So give me 5 things we do during commercial breaks. I took this picture during a commercial break. There's Pete and Nora looking at us. They're both looking good. The hair looks great. Skin looking nice. Teeth are white. They got the TV lights on. So what do you think? Give me some ideas. What do you think we do during commercial breaks?
Let's do one for Mrs. O'Meara's class first.
That's great. Yeah.
Anybody here? Tally, go ahead. Eat.
Okay, that's one.
Okay, Mrs. Buckley's class. Justin. Drink.
Drink. Yes, coffee. Yes. Water. Yep.
Okay, Mr. Rodriguez's class.
Let's see. Arjun. Okay. Anna. Sleep.
Well, you have to sleep pretty quick.
Okay, how about Mrs. O'Meara's class again?
Go ahead.
Relax.
Yeah. How about one more? Somebody else give me one more.
Okay, Brayden.
Reset up and to get the cameras ready for when you get back.
So reset
Yes.
up.
Yes, basically here, right here. Drink coffee. Somebody said drink. Yep. We might go to the restroom, but you've only got at most 3 minutes to do it. We might eat food, although we're careful. Like while that video was playing, I have to admit, just since we're friends, I had some trail mix because I was kind of hungry. So we have to make sure there's not food in our teeth. Okay, so I never do like spinach typically when I'm about to go on the air, or poppy seed muffins are the worst because those little poppy seeds get stuck in your teeth. Horrible. So we try not to eat, certain kinds of food. And then we might talk about anything. That's the first time I've ever had one of you students say we might sleep on the set. You'd have to sleep for about 2.5 to 3 minutes, and that would be it. The biggest thing that what the last student here said, well, we get ready for the next segment because all our newscasts are always live. I think in the 21 years I've been here, once or maybe twice we recorded a newscast, and that was it. It's always live. So we always have to be ready. Okay. That gives you, between that and the video, that gives you a general idea of what we do at a TV station. So let's talk weather. Remember, I'm a meteorologist. Each day my kids, they're about 20, but they think this is so antiquated that we write things down on a piece of paper. In fact, Drew, one of our other meteorologists here, he's doing the paper right now. He's making the forecast while I'm talking to you folks. So we have a blank page. By the time it's finished, it looks about like this. This is actually from, oh boy, that was 4 years ago, but it was in November. So well, temperatures look about the same. It rains, still rains in November. What do you know? And we fill out a whole bunch of weather information, but you're thinking, how do we come up with a forecast? And yes, there is weather information on an app, right? That's what my son always looks at. But we have to figure out what we're going to say. But oh, by the way, let me back up. That's what the forecast looks like when we're done writing it out on a piece of paper. And then for TV, we make it all pretty and it looks good. And that's what it looks like, more or less. All right. So how do we make a forecast? Let me show you the tools we use, because everybody uses tools to do things, right? The students use tools for things. Your teachers use tools. We look at radar imagery. Like today, we're tracking the heavy rain that just passed through. And if, in fact, looks like the cold front has passed through or is about to. So the rain is backed off or is backing off. We watch from space. GOES satellites are 23,000 miles away. But here's the biggest thing we use, computer modeling of the atmosphere. And what we do is we don't do it, but companies and or government organizations, they run computer models, which is basically like a simulation of the atmosphere, kind of like that upper left picture. It's like the atmosphere is all chopped up and, in a computer. And then they guess, and using math and science to guess what's going to happen out forward in time. And then we see those maps like on the right and at the bottom. How many of you have played a game called Minecraft? Did a whole bunch of hands go up?
Yep, tons.
All right. So as I recall, when my kids were young, and so Minecraft has been popular a long time, they would kind of make their own little worlds and their own landscapes, their own buildings, or you do that. And so that's kind of what we do with the computer modeling of the atmosphere. We're using math and science to create a future atmosphere for if it's just a few hours from now, or it might be like 2 weeks from now. Did you hear the kitty cat? Yeah. I don't know if all cats like snow, but it always looks good to have a little kitty cat on there. So let's talk about our weather here in the Pacific Northwest where we live. We'll talk about lightning. I think we're skipping hurricanes for today, and tornadoes and snow because we want to get to snow, right? So do we live in a wet place? Raise your hand if you think we live in a wet place. Did most of the hands go up? Yeah. Okay. So I bet you'd be surprised to know that Oregon, 2/3 of Oregon is actually really dry. Let me put my pointer. Is this a pointer?
What? Okay.
What? So this shows the how many inches of rain per year, and any of the warm colors are dry places where there aren't that many trees. And look at that, 2/3 of Oregon here is pretty darn dry. We live over here and we're in the wetter 1/3 of the state, because we live close to the Pacific Ocean where there's lots of moisture. So most of Oregon is actually pretty dry once you go east of the Cascades. If you've ever been to a town called Bend or the Dalles or Maupin,
Yes.
people go there. Yeah, people go there to find sunshine, and it's sunnier and drier over there because the air comes down the backside of the mountains and it dries out over here. So those are pretty dry places. They always want rain, and we, except in midsummer, almost always want it to be drier and sunnier. All right. Oops. I did that. Okay, lightning. Let's talk about lightning. So lightning is very hot. Did you know it's 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and that can be warmer than the surface of the sun? But what is lightning? It's very simple. All it is a spark. It's a giant spark in the sky. Just like if you're, like sometimes if you're walking around, especially if you have socks on, and then you get a little spark from something, or you touch a friend and you get a little, we call it static electricity. It's just a huge version of that. It's that simple. And the electricity buildup is in the clouds or on the earth. And in the clouds, it can be from ice particles rubbing together like pieces of hail or chunks of ice. And so that's how lightning forms, but it's really small. I mean, look at this. A viewer sent me this picture like 15 years ago. It looks actually out across the Columbia River. Looks huge, right? But it's really only about 1 inch in diameter. It's basically an explosion of electricity along a very narrow line. And as you can guess, it's dangerous if it hits you. But people do survive lightning strikes, but you should always go inside when there's lightning, or at least under some sort of cover. Let's see, do we have lightning questions, I bet? How about a couple lightning questions?
Lightning questions, Mrs. O'Mara's class?
Okay. For Mike?
I know that lightning's really like hot, but but like how there's like some clouds that form it, but I don't know which clouds, and they're a special type of cloud.
They're cumulonimbus clouds. It means heaps of clouds with rain, I think. Yeah, cumulonimbus, it's a big word. A nimbus
Okay,
cloud is
Joe.
also right now, gives us rain only.
So can you survive a lightning strike?
Yes, you can. In fact, I remember there was this guy called, you older folk, well, none of you are probably as old as me, but the teachers, do you remember there used to be this guy in like, I think it was Blue Mountain, what's it called? Blue Ridge, whatever that national park is back east, Blue Ridge. Anyway, the national park, and he was like Ranger Joe or whatever, and he'd been struck by lightning 7 times. For some reason, he was always in the wrong place, and it seems like some people actually do have something about them that makes them easier to get struck by lightning, but he survived each time, I think. I don't know about the last time.
7 times. Can you imagine, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Rodriguez's class, do you have a question about lightning?
Let's see, Sydney.
How do cumulonimbus clouds form?
It's big rising motions in the atmosphere. A lot of times it's with very warm and humid weather. There has to be a lot of moisture, and there has to be a lot of rising. And that's how most of our weather systems form. Like what's over us today, it's just from rising motions from the jet stream going overhead. Just usually most cumulonimbus clouds have warmth and a lot of moisture. The air bubbles up. Okay, how about if we go on to, oh, by the way, we don't get much lightning here. You see these colors here? I know it's hard to read, but basically these areas in the warm colors get lots of lightning every year. And then the areas, there's less. And the West Coast from Seattle to Portland to San Francisco to Los Angeles, we get the least lightning of anywhere in the country. And that's because we live near a cold ocean, relatively cold ocean, and we don't get big rising motions over a cold ocean in the warm season. So if you have ever been to, I'm sure a few of you have been to Disney World, maybe like the Magic Kingdom. Probably fewer of you have been to Bourbon Street, maybe some of the adults, Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Very hot and sweaty in the summer, and there's a lot of energy and all that tropical moisture, and they get thunderstorms almost every day in the summertime. And then there's Tornado Alley in the middle of the United States, and they tend to get a lot of thunderstorms here. I have a friend that forecasts weather in Wichita, right here, Kansas, and he has about 3 months where he's really busy in late April, May, June, that time. So we just don't get much lightning here. Okay, speaking of tornadoes, let's do a little video. There's no sound to this. Oh wait, does it play? Maybe it doesn't play. I don't think it plays. Well, I messed that up. Anyway, what you would have seen is, and you can find tornado videos on YouTube, of course, but this tornado comes across and it rips a roof off of a house. Tornadoes are a very intense circulation of wind, and they come out of strong thunderstorms, those cumulonimbus clouds. They're usually pretty small, but most thunderstorms don't produce tornadoes. They just come out of the really strong thunderstorms. And look at the wind speed. So I was coming here to work today, and before it started raining, I was driving about 60 or so on the freeway, 60 miles per hour. But the wind speed in a tornado could be 150 to 300 miles per hour. That is really fast. So that's why that's why tornadoes are so damaging. They're kind of small, but they produce a lot of damage because the wind is so strong. So do we get tornadoes in Oregon or Washington? Raise your hand if you think yes, we do, or leave your hand if you think no, we don't. And I can't see you. I only see my graphics. So what do you think?
We have about 3 saying yes, we do.
Oh, but most say no, huh? Well, yes, we do. We average 3 every year in Oregon and in Washington, which is, the state next door. They're usually pretty weak. And I'm trying to think of the last tornado we had. Oh, St. Helens, which is only, I don't know, 20 miles if you went in a straight line north of here. They had a tornado last November. And Drew, do you remember when the last tornado was? Wait, didn't we just have a weak one somewhere?
2 months ago.
Where was it?
It was Battleground.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, Battleground, just about 2 months ago, maybe late September, early October. There was a tornado up in Battleground, really weak, but it didn't do much damage. But we do get tornadoes here, but usually they're weak. Yeah, so that's tornadoes. Let's go on to snow. Oh, here we go. Kitty cats again. Hey, Have you ever seen your kitty cat lick the window? Isn't that strange? Mine haven't done it, but I've had viewers send me pictures. I've had viewers send me pictures of a cat licking a window, and so I had to share this one. And everybody loves a cat meow, right? Well, some people aren't big into cats, but anyway, let's talk about snow. So last winter, I think you can see my pointer, right? This laser pointer.
Yep.
Yeah. So last winter, these are numbers. Now you're third graders, right? So I forget, you probably haven't done decimals yet. Is that correct? Or some of you have?
No.
Some. No. Okay, so no. So just ignore the number after the dot. That just means it's 10 inches, a little more than 10 inches, 10.1. And you see how each one of these bars here represents the amount of snow we got in Portland each of these winters. That's the closest snow observing station. So if we go back, what is this? 20 winters all the way back in time. What sticks out there? What do you notice there? What's interesting about this graph? If your teacher just throws us on the wall and he or she says, what's interesting about this? What do you see? Tell me what's interesting.
What do you see, guys? Call that, what do you see? So usually there's a very little bit of snow, but then one time there was one big amount of snow.
Yeah, every once in a while there's a big one, right? Yep. Anything else?
Yep. This is Omera's class.
I noticed that sometimes there's zero amount of snow.
You're right. Look how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these two are less than an inch. 6, 7. 7 years out of those 20 years, we had less than an inch of snow, which means it pretty much didn't snow that winter. Okay, so last winter we had 10 inches because we had all of that in February. Actually, you had a little bit in late January too. But almost all that was just out of one 3-day episode there around Valentine's Day. So why don't we get much snow here? Well, it's related to the ocean. Now, remember, I was talking about the ocean. I said we don't get much lightning here because we have a cold ocean. It's kind of cold. Well, it's 50 degrees, but can somebody tell me how cold water has to be for it to freeze and turn into ice? What's the Fahrenheit temperature? That's what temperature?
Mr. Rodriguez, anyone in your class?
Fletcher, come on up.
20 degrees.
Good try. A little warmer than that.
Justin, come over here. Quick.
What's the freezing temperature of water? When does it start to turn to ice?
It starts to turn to ice once it hits 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes, 32 degrees. Okay, so that's a magic number. So at 32 degrees, water freezes, and also snowflakes would survive because it's always cold, almost always colder higher up in the atmosphere. And so when we have air that's always coming off our 50-degree ocean, that's a little bit too warm for snow by about 18 degrees. So that's why most of the time in the winter here, we get lots of rain, but not much snow. All right. So if the air is extra cold and it came over that 50-degree ocean, it might not warm up that much. And so that way we might get snowflakes that survive all the way down to sea level. That's pretty rare. I'm distracted by the cold front, Drew. Back edge of it, I'm guessing. Very exciting. All right, so we were watching the weather cameras. So in that case, we can get snow all the way to sea level. And when that happens, you'll often see us as weather forecasters say, hey, it's going to snow in the hills around town. We might get a little dusting in the morning, and school might be delayed, but it might just be this slushy stuff that doesn't do much. That's one way we get snow. But the way we get the big snow here in our area, like last February, that's when we have cold air that comes in from the east through the Cascade Mountain Range through a place called the Columbia River Gorge. And all that cold air pours in, and then all that moisture comes back from the ocean overhead. And then we can get a big snowstorm. And sometimes in that pattern, we even get freezing rain as well, which I'll explain in a minute. But in that pattern, we can sometimes stay, frozen for a few days. You get to go sledding, and it looks all like Christmassy with the, you see all the snow in the houses there in the graphic. So every once in a while, we get a big storm like that, like last February. And freezing rain, I should explain what that is. We don't tend to get a lot of that on the west side of the Portland area, including Beaverton. But that's when it looks like this in the end. It's like liquid rain falls, but it's below freezing down here where we live. It came from a warmer place overhead. And so when that happens, liquid rain falls and it freezes onto objects. And you can see several different pictures there, pretty big ice storms in our area. So in that case, snowflakes almost always form up high in the winter. Like right now, it's snowing up in the mountains, or will be soon. And even when it rains down here, that's because the snowflakes melted into raindrops. But with freezing rain, then it goes below freezing and it freezes down here again. So that's how we get freezing rain. So questions about snow and freezing rain and cold weather. What do you think?
Anybody have a question? Mrs. O'Mara's class? Five.
Is the freezing rain rare?
It is in some places, like at the Oregon coast, it almost never happens. Where I live, I happen to live out in the Columbia River Gorge, about 20 miles on the other side of Portland, and I get it several times each winter in my house. Sometimes I get a lot, like really thick freezing rain. But it's pretty common out there where there's more cold air that comes in.
Is it going to snow? By any chance?
We don't see,
this month?
say that again. What was that? Yeah, we can't look. Yeah, we can't look more than about 2 weeks ahead of time. We can see general patterns, but we can't say, for example, I can't look at you and say, hey, it's going to snow on January 12th. We can't see about 2 weeks ahead of time. We can see general weather patterns, but it looks really mild. This next 10 days look pretty mild. I doubt we'll get any snow by Thanksgiving. And typically it's a little too warm for us most of November. Sometimes in November it snows just 14, 56. I think it was just 3 years ago. I'm sorry. I think it was about 8 years ago. We had freezing rain like this on this date, like 14th or 15th of November. That's pretty rare. That's pretty early for that.
Okay, Mr. R's class, anyone?
How does hail form?
That's a good question. So the way hail forms is, remember in a cloud, like a cumulonimbus cloud or just a cloud that's got rain producing, you've got the raindrops that come down. But in some of those thunderstorm clouds, the updrafts that go back into the storm are so strong going up that a raindrop, it's dropping because of gravity, right? Coming towards us, it gets lifted back up again. And it goes up above the freezing point in the cloud where it's very cold up there. And so that raindrop freezes into a chunk of ice. And so then it starts to drop again, right? Because it gets out of that little updraft, comes down. And in some strong thunderstorms, that happens several times because the updrafts are so strong. So you get several layers. And each time it goes up above the freezing point, it gets another layer. So in the middle of the United States where they get big thunderstorms, you might get hail like this big. Isn't that amazing? You get baseball size hail. So you don't want to be outside when that happens because that hurts.
Any other questions, third graders? Mrs. O'Mara's class? Gio, did you have a question?
Gio has a question.
How do the weather balloons work?
Yeah, weather balloons are used for checking out, seeing what the atmosphere is doing overhead. We can do a lot of that by satellite now. They can sense what's going on in the atmosphere, but the weather balloon, actually has a sensor on it. They just blow it up with, they fill it with helium. I think it's helium. Yeah. And then it rises up through the atmosphere, and the whole time it's taking measurements, and it sends all that information back to the base station. And they do that twice a day down at Salem, the state capital, and they do it twice a day, maybe 200 miles north of here at a place called Forks, Washington. And all around the globe, there are these upper air observations. And that's how gives us a good idea of what's going on in the atmosphere overhead.
Okay, we have time for one more question. So Brayden.
What is the biggest hail you have ever seen?
The biggest hail I've seen isn't that big since I've spent most of my life right here. Maybe like a marble, I think. But the biggest hail on record is huge. I don't have the exact numbers. Drew, do you know? I don't. But it'd be huge, like football size in Nebraska or somewhere. Can you imagine? So that's why people can be killed by hail, and animals have been killed by hail, like a big hailstorm like in Texas or Oklahoma. There might be, a whole bunch of cows gone. Okay. Yeah, we don't get that here, luckily, because we don't have big thunderstorms. So that's good. You know what? I was going to say,
boys and girls.
I was going to mention, I didn't say like how, like my career, like how I got into, like if you had an interest in weather. I was always interested in weather since I was probably about your age, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And so I kept doing math and science. And then in high school, well, I guess in high school, I just did math and science as well. And then I went to college for 4 years and got a degree in meteorology. It was atmospheric science, which is the same thing. And so if you're interested in weather or forecasting, it's something called physics, which is an outgrowth, a kind of science. So it's like physics and math. It's a lot of that. So, and just by chance, I got into TV. That was kind of random the way I ended up in TV, but it happens.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Nelson, for coming to spend time with us.
Can you guys all say
We know you're a very busy person.
You're welcome.
wave?
I like the camera pan. That's nice. I see everybody.
And we'll
Everybody there? Let's see.
There's everybody there.
Let me see. Hi, everybody. Wait, turn to your right. There you go. Thanks for listening. You guys were great.
Can you guys all wave?
Hey.
All right. See you later then. Is that
Thank you so much.
That it? You're clear?
That's
We're- I'm
it. And
clear?
we'll see you on the news tonight.
I will be there. See you then. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you.